Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Ça va? Where are the others? You had class just now? Hello. Ah, okay. Please join in. I hope the others, they join as soon as possible so that we can start the class. Okay, shall I start? Hello, are you there?
Oui, madame.
Oui, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Can I start? Because I see that there is only not many of you. You had class just before. They are not joining up to now.
Yeah, it ended at 12:30. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, but it's now. I was at OUCC and now I'm home already. I got home quickly. So shall I start? Till the rest join in?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So welcome to this class on social work research. And I guess you know me already. I'm Mrs. Kuraram. I did class with you year 1, semester 1 on social perspectives. Now we are going to look a little bit further in the social work research, right? So you have your slides already, isn't it? Because I have already uploaded the slides yesterday. So let's just move on. So what is research? It is the systematic investigation of data and inquiry to provide explanations, establish relationships, carry out experimentation, or test hypotheses to generate new knowledge. So when we talk of research, when we did research in the beginning, it was all the basics of research that we did. So here we are going to go a little bit more in detail about research. What is research? And this module is definitely going to help you when you are going to move ahead with your dissertation, right? So, research is the systematic investigation of data. We are going to analyze data, etc., to investigate into data, and inquiry to provide explanations, establish relationships, carry out experimentation, or test hypotheses to generate new knowledge. Now, what is social research? It is academic research on topics relating to questions relevant to the social scientific fields, such as sociology, social policy, politics, and criminology. So this is social research. Then you have the scientific method of research. Now, scientific knowledge relates to it's created by following a set of procedures agreed by the scientific community that controls how data can be collected and analyzed. Okay, so the way that the data is being collected or even analyzed, it goes according to a set of procedures. There are procedures that is being done, how you collect data, how data is being collected and analyzed. So it begins with a hypothesis or research question. First of all, you have a research question. When you want to analyze something, you have a research question. According to this research question, that you are going to direct to know how you are going to collect your data, what you're looking exactly for, how you're going to collect your data, how you're going to analyze your data. Now, greater plausibility as it is based on tested facts rather than untested opinions, right? Um, Now, greater plausibility as it is based on tested facts rather than untested opinions. That is, you have, when you have tested all these, the data, it is, you have this, it becomes a fact that, okay, you have tested this and you have got the results. Also, it gives knowledge a crucial quality, right? The quality of knowledge that you get, it really gives it a good, it's a very strong quality, a crucial quality. Then you have reliability. Now it refers to the effectiveness of the research approach in generating consistent data. Now when you do a research, you should know whether it is a reliable one or not. Now, reliability is when the researcher can check the reliability of research by replicating or repeating the research to see whether they get the same or very similar results while using the same methods. So when you do a research and you see when another researcher is using is replicating that research, an existing one, then while replicating and using the same or very similar, when you get the same or very similar results while using the same procedures, the same method should be used, then we say that the research is reliable. Okay. Now, validity. It refers to the extent to which a research method describes or measures what it claims to describe or measure. That it is mainly concerned with how true to life answers and findings are. So when you have a validity, it has how far it reflects the reality, right? How far it reflects the reality, the research that you are doing, how far really it reflects the reality. Then we come to positivism, right? Positivism, we did positivism a little bit in year one, semester one. Now, as I said, it is more in depth. So positivism is based on assumptions that the social world be explored in the same way as natural world. There were laws of human behavior to be discovered in the same way as scientists discovered laws of gravity, for example. Now, methods which are preferred by positivists, they are the questionnaire, structured interviews, experiments or comparative and observational studies. We are going to come into detail with these methods. Then positivism is low in validity. That is, when you use positivism, it is not going to give you a true picture of reality. However, it's going to give you a high level of reliability than qualitative methods. We are going to come to qualitative methods. I mean, you already know what are qualitative methods. We did that in year one, semester one. So with positivism, what is the main gist of it? It is that you have it is low in validity, but it is high in reliability, right? Then you have interpretivism, which is based on different assumptions when compared to positivism. The purpose of sociology is to try to understand why people behave as they do. When we do interpretivism, it's all the contrary of positivism, right? So the purpose mainly is to understand why people behave as they do. We normally know that there is an interaction between people when we do sociology, when we study the society. Now, you have to understand why people behave as such. Now, it requires totally different methods and needs to be assessed differently. It is not like it is totally different from the methods used in positivism. It yields lower reliability, but this one is high in validity, right? So you have to bear this in mind that positivism is low in reliability. No, sorry, in positivism is high in reliability and low in validity, and interpretivism is high in validity and low in reliability. Now you have different types of research. When you do research, you come across different types of research, and you have to select which type you're going to use when you do research. First of all, you have descriptive research, which is it describes a particular phenomenon, focusing on the issue of what is happening rather than why it is happening, right? So this is descriptive research, right? It focuses on the issue of what is happening actually rather than why it is happening. Now, explanatory research, it involves explaining why something happens and assessing the causal relationships between variables. This is explanatory. You are going to explain why something happens, and then also you are going to assess the causal relationship, the relationship that there exists between the various variables. Now, exploratory research, it takes place where there is little or no prior knowledge. There is a need for an initial exploration before more specific research is undertaken. Exploratory research is mainly when you are going to do an in-depth research about a particular phenomenon, right? You are going to dig deep to do a in-depth research, and it takes place when there is little or no prior knowledge. You don't know about it, but still you are going to do an in-depth research on a specific phenomenon. Now, what is social work research? It is the methodological investigation into social work issues. Social workers make use of application of research procedures to solve problems faced by individuals regarding a specific social work issue. It is the study of interrelationship of social workers with their clients, namely their levels of interaction. So when you are a social worker, you have people who come and see you for their concerns, and you are responsible to try to solve their problems, right? And also while talking to them, while interacting with these people, you have so much information, which in turn will help you to solve the problem, right? Okay. Any questions so far? What I have done? Do you have any question? Is there anything you want me to explain again, which is not clear? Yes, je vous écoute. Vous êtes là? No one is answering. What is happening?
Oui, Madame, on est là.
Okay, but why are you not responding? Any problem? What's the problem? Vous dormez? Yes, any question so far what I have done? What I have explained?
Non, non.
C'est bon? Je peux continuer?
Oui, Madame.
Madam?
Yes?
Madam, there is something that I've come across in the manual, pure research and applied research. Does it form part of the different types of research?
I can't get you. Can you just repeat?
There is something that I came by in the manual, pure research and applied research. Does it form part of the different types of research?
Here we are considering only the interpretivist and types of the descriptive and explanatory as I explained. There are other types of research, but we are not going to work on all these types of research, right? The main types of research that we are going to deal with are the descriptive, the explanatory, and exploratory, right? Anyway, you can read in the manual, from the manual, for you to know what types of research we have. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let me continue. Okay, now let's come to the significance of research in social work. Now, first of all, why do social workers do research? Many of you are social workers. When we talk of research, first type of research that you're going to have is that face-to-face interaction that you have with the people, with the concerned people, with the members of public who come to see you, right? So this is one type of research. You are going to do research. So what it is mainly that face-to-face interaction that you have, which later we are going to see as a qualitative type of research it is. So from this, you're going to get information, and the information that you're going to get from the person is going to help you to solve the problem, right? So first of all, becoming informed research consumers, social workers need to discern methodological essential qualities so as to keep pace with development in their specific fields, right? For example, you have a few people who come to see you for X or Y problem. You can do like a sort of interview with them, and then later on you can just analyze what is the problem really, what comes out of this interaction that you have with the person, for you to be able to discern really the problem, to decipher the problem of the person, right? Secondly, you have becoming informed research producers. Social workers are in favored situations through their face-to-face intercommunications with clients. We're going to say clients, okay? to develop knowledge. Now they have direct connections with clients that's relating to real life problems and trying to find solutions altogether. Of course, the people are members of the public who come to see you are social workers, right? You are dealing with this is real life problem that these people are coming up. The concerns are real life problems, and you're trying to find solutions altogether, right? Third, you have advocacy or assistance and participation in the policy making process. Now, when social workers have compatible research aptitudes, this establishes decision making at higher levels. For example, you're a social worker, you have been able to do, let's say, like a sort of research to know about the problem really encountered by people of certain age. You take it by age, you identify the C'est bon, vous m'entendez? You are here? C'est bon?
Oui, madame, on vous entend. Moi, je vous entends.
Ok. Non, parce que je vois qu'il y avait une petite interférence. C'est bon, je crois que c'est bon. So when social workers have compatible research aptitudes, this establishes decision making at higher levels. Ok, ça on a vu. Now, research reports with a detailed intervention, suggestions for enhancement conceivably add up in influencing policy making process. Now, you can even draft reports when you have got those interventions, interactions with the people concerned, with detailed intervention, how you are going to find solutions to these problems, right? And then, of course, you are going to suggest solutions which will definitely help in policy making. Fourth, you have the academic and professional accreditation requirements. The Council on Social Work Education, CSWE, considers research as one main prerequisite for professional social work. Now, Council requires that undergraduate and postgraduate students should understand spirit of inquiry and informed criticism, acquire knowledge, application of knowledge in practice, and critical evaluation. So when you're doing social work, you know that social work, it forms part of a social science. And as professional social workers, you need to, the council require the undergraduate, even if the postgraduate student, you have to be able to understand a spirit of inquiry and informed criticism. You need to acquire knowledge and application of knowledge in practice. You have to apply that knowledge in practice, and you have to need to get a critical evaluation. Now, common social issues in social work research. Now, social work research targets, namely, you have psychosocial problems which you have in a society very often. Prevention and intervention, community organizational policy, and administrative concerns. So all these, they are the social issues which arise. Now, areas of research for practice include research on mental health, where you can do research on mental health, community violence, right? HIV/AIDS, juvenile delinquency, teenage pregnancy, substance abuse, and child maltreatment. So these are all the issues that you have in social work or even in the society. Okay, so that was the first one. Any question? Je vous écoute. Vous avez des questions? Is there anything that is not clear? Non? Personne ne me répond. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? No?
Ça va, madame.
Why is there only one person answering? Where are the others? Vous êtes là? Les autres?
Oui. Oui.
Madame.
Oui, madame.
Okay.
Oui, madame.
Any question? Is there
That's
anything that you have not understood? Ça va? Can I move to another one?
C'est bon.
Ok, c'est bon. Si vous me dites c'est bon, c'est bon. Alors. Okay, let's move on to part 2. Unit 2, part 1. Right? So, here we are going to look at qualitative research methods. Yes?
Yes, madam. Will you be sharing your
Yes.
screen, please?
I have already sent you the slides. They are already uploaded.
Okay, thank you then.
You have your slides already. I have already sent you your slides. It's already there. Please check. Okay, let me continue. So here we are going to look at the qualitative research methods, which is, I have divided it into 2 parts for you to understand it better. So what is qualitative research? It is a research strategy that usually emphasizes words rather than quantification in the collection of analysis of data, right? I'm sure you've heard of what is qualitative research. So it uses words rather than quantification, that is rather than quantifying using figures in the collection and analysis of data. It is mostly interpretive in nature, right? Data are collected in natural settings, either by interviews in the form of words, phrases, or case studies to understand and explain social phenomena. So, the data that you collect when you do qualitative research, the data is collected in the natural settings, right? That is, you go and meet the person, you are going to interview the person, then you are going to, with that information, you are going to explain the social phenomena, to understand and explain the social phenomena. Now, qualitative approach involves subjects. That is, when we talk of subjects, when we talk of we normally refer to people, right? To people under study. Then we talk of subjects. It is normally the participants. They are, of course, individuals. In order to provide the realism needed for theory building and developing research propositions, right? Now, it is the commonly used qualitative research data collection methods. They are, first of all, you have case studies, ethnographic phenomenology, and grounded theory. Now, the case study, it involves an in-depth longitudinal investigation of a single case and aims at answering the why as well as the what and how questions. That is, when you are trying to explain a phenomenon, you are going to do research regarding a phenomenon. You are going to take a case study is an in-depth longitudinal investigation. It takes a long time, years and years of a single case and aims at answering. You are going through that research, you are going to answer why this phenomena happens, why this happens, as well as what happens and how come this happens. So these are the questions that comes into play when you are using qualitative approach. Then you have ethnographic. It is used when the subject involved in an entire cultural group where participation observation is used to study and interpret values, behaviors, and beliefs on the culture sharing group, right? Then you have phenomenological research method. It is used to describe individual experiences of a phenomenon experienced by one or more individuals in their real world life. This is phenomenology. That is, you are going to observe and describe the phenomenon experienced by people, more than one or more individuals in their real world life, that is in the real setting still, right? Then you have grounded theory, which is used to develop and present a new theory based on core themes that emerge from the data under investigation. Okay, so here you are going to develop a new theory, which is based on the themes that have emerged from the data that you have got, the data under investigation. Now let's come to interviews. Now, interviews have been a core constituent of the qualitative research. Qualitative interviewing tends to be much less structured. It is much, yes, when we talk of qualitative research, we first of all, what comes into our mind is face-to-face interviews, right? It is only face-to-face interviews that come into our mind when we talk of qualitative research, firstly. Now, qualitative interviewing tends to be much less structured. Initial research ideas are more open-ended, and there is an emphasis on interviewees' own perspectives. There is greater interest in the interviewee's point of view. So when we do face-to-face interviews, we are going to concentrate, to focus on the interviewee's own perspective. That is how the person sees or experiences that social phenomena, right? And there is greater interest in the interviews. What is very important in the interviewee's point of view? This is where we are going to get to collect. This is our main data collection. And from this, we are going to analyze the themes that come out. We're going to see that later. The themes that come out of all these discussions, of all these perspectives, the interviewees' perspectives, right? Now, interviewers can depart significantly from the interview guide. They can ask you new questions that follow up interviewees' replies and can vary the order and even the wording of the questions. For example, you are doing an interview, a face-to-face interview with the person. You ask one question, the person is going to answer, of course. Now, what you can do as an interviewer, from this answer that you get from the interviewee, I mean the person that you are conducting the interview with is known, the respondent is also known as the interviewee. Now, the answer that you get from the interview, you can use as an interviewer, you can use the answer to formulate another question from that answer. You formulate another question on the spot, right? Then this is where you are going to get the more in-depth answers regarding a specific social phenomena. Now, also you have something which is known as an interview schedule. That is a list of questions that you are going to ask these people, right? Now, while doing that face-to-face interview, what happens is that over and above that, you can reformulate or formulate another new question, which was not in the interview schedule. You can still vary the order or even the wordings of the questions for you to get to probe in, to get in-depth information from one question, right? Is that clear, this part? On ne me répond pas. Are you there?
Oui.
Yes.
Vous avez compris? Have you
Yes.
understood?
Yes.
Okay. Now, from the interviews, researcher wants rich and detailed answers. It tends to be flexible, responding to the direction in which interviewees take the interviews. Now, when we say that researcher wants rich and detailed answer, this is mainly what? Researcher is looking for what? What type of answer is the researcher looking for? When we say that the researcher wants rich, detailed answers, he is looking for what type of data? Je vous écoute.
Qualitative data.
Yes, we are already doing on qualitative, but which type of data? It is a reliable one or a valid one? Will he be looking for validity or reliability? Anyone?
Madame, c'est pas validité que je cherche en posant des questions.
Yes,
Specific.
exactly. Yes, it is validity, exactly. Yes, because while asking questions, you are looking for rich and detailed answers. Comme j'ai dit, comme je viens d'expliquer, you can be reformulating the question just to get in-depth answers. Now, while looking for in-depth answers, we are looking for the validity, right? Also, it tends to be flexible, responding to the direction in which the interviewees take the interview. It's quite flexible to do an interview. It's not really a face-to-face interview, comes more like a guided conversation, right? Now, then you have group interviews and focus group, right? A group interview is a situation in which several people discuss a number of topics. This is a group interview. It is a situation in which several people, they are going to discuss on a number of topics. Now, a focus group is a form of group interview in which there are several participants. Both of them you have participants, of course, but the other one you have a group of people, they do. Now, in the focus group, emphasis is laid in the questioning on a particularly fairly tightly defined topic. The main difference between a group interview is that you have a group of people discussing a number of topics, right? Whereas in a focus group, you have a group of people questioning on a particular defined topic. D'accord? Cela veut dire un group interview, c'est a group of people explaining a number of topics, different topics. But a focus group, they are going to discuss on only one defined specific topic. D'accord? Ça, c'est très important. Hein? Le groupe, you have to make the difference between a group interview and, excuse me, and a focus group. Now, let us see the distinction between focus groups and group interviews. Now, focus groups emphasize a specific theme or topic that is explored in depth, whereas group interviews span widely. Comme j'ai dit tout à l'heure, là, focus group, you emphasize on a specific theme or topic that is explored in depth, right? Whereas group interview, they span widely. You can have many topics dealt at the same time. Now, group interviews allow the saving of time and money. When you do a group, when we talk of a group interview, you can be having like 8 to 10 people sitting all around for a discussion, right? Now, interviews are carried out with a number of individuals simultaneously. You can do interviews with 8 people at the same time. That is, you're going to ask the question. The people, at the same time, you're going to get 8 answers right there, okay? Now, focus group researcher is interested in ways in which the individuals discuss certain issue as members of a group rather than individually, right? Now, when you do focus group, the researcher is more interested in ways in which the individual discuss certain issue because it is focused on only one issue. C'est bon, I guess we got a problem with the connection. Are you there? Vous m'entendez?
Oui, madame.
Oui. Et je
Oui.
crois que c'était raté un bout là, non?
Oui.
Okay,
Is that
let us continue. Okay. Have you missed something? Should I start again? Let me just go through that focus group, strength of focus group. So focus group members have things in common. For example, similarities of age, gender experience and expertise. Now, these similarities encourage discussion and interest. So when you have a group of people with same age, same gender experience, you have so much to discuss, right? Now, participants discuss and debate, agree and disagree. This encourages them to think about their views, right? So when you have participants around, they discuss and debate around, you have so many things that are being agreed upon, so many things that are being disagreed, right? And while agreement and disagreement happens, this encourages definitely how to the debate, the discussion becomes more and more interesting because you're going to have different point of view at the same time. And while having the point of view also, how you're going to debate, why is this not, why is that other person disagreeing with the point of view. So there is that debate, that discussion, which is very interesting, and through that you are going to get more and more interesting insights, more and more interesting information. Now, it is used to study sensitive topics. Normally, we do focus group discussions when we are going to deal with sensitive topics. It can provide social support and empowerment for vulnerable participants with shared experiences. Okay. Now let's come to the limitations of focus groups. Now, researchers have less control than in standardized interviews. You have a group of people. You know, when you have a group of people, many people, they have each one of us, we have a particular characteristic, particular type of behavior. So within that group, you can have introverts and extroverts. Now, introvert people, they have the tendency to remain quiet. They don't really want to voice out. Whereas extroverts, they have the habit of voicing out and talking, right? So when you do a focus group, you have 8 to 10 people here around the table. So some of them might be extroverts, where they have the tendency to overshadow those who are introverts, right? They are not going to give the others the opportunity even to talk, right? They do all the talking themselves. So it becomes a problem because you don't get to the point of view of these introvert people. Now, sometimes moderator has to get involved to ensure that things run smoothly. For example, to prevent one member of the group from dominating the discussion, right? The person might be an extrovert, though he or she has a tendency to dominate the discussion, right? Now, it is not clear how far agreement on particular views reflects the group pressure, how far you can agree on certain things. Now, discussion may move into anticipated topics that some participants would not have agreed to discuss in public. Now, while discussing, there are issues which might crop up. Issues or even insights or topics, anticipated topics which can come through. But however, this topic was not on the agenda to be discussed. And very often you have many people who don't want to discuss on the other emerging topic. So it becomes quite a problem, right? So that was the first part of qualitative. Do you have any question? Je vous écoute. Des questions? Des questions sur tout ce que je viens de faire là, depuis le commencement? I give you a few minutes. I give you about 5 minutes. Just wrap up, just see whether you have understood everything before I move ahead. Revoyez tout ce que je viens de faire depuis le début. Just see whether everything is clear or is there anything which is you have any doubt. Just let me know. I'll give you 5 minutes for that. Yes, any question? Non, vous autres? Rien? Ça va? Pas de questions?
Ça va, madame?
Vous êtes... Oui, mais pourquoi? Je ne comprends pas là. Why do you take so much time to reply? Hein? Au bon temps quand je parle, so when I ask a question, why do you take so much time to reply? And why are all the others? There is only one person answering. What is happening? Are you there? Are you sleeping or what?
C'est bon.
I
Yeah.
find only one person replying. Where are the others?
Nous sommes là, madame.
Oui, but if you continue like this, how am I going to do a discussion class with you? Ça va être vraiment difficile because I take so much time for you. You take so much time for you to reply. Anyway, pas de questions?
No,
Just
madam.
go through it.
Non, pas de
Just
question.
go through it. Pas de questions. Okay, so I'll just move on, right? Okay, let's move on to unit 2, part 2. Is it? Yes. So it is unit 2, part 2. We are still on qualitative research methods. All right. Now, what is representativeness? Right? Now, the extent to which the characteristics of a sample population accurately reflect those of the target population. Let me take a very simple example to explain what is representativeness. For example, I am a researcher. I'm looking for a few young girls, right? I'm looking for a few young girls aged 16 to 18, right? Who have long hair, who are fair, and who have brown eyes, right? So I repeat, I'm looking for girls who are 16 to 18, 16 years old to 18 years old, who are fair, who have long hair, and who have brown eyes. So what I do, I just go in in a college. Over there you have, okay, 16 years to 18. 16 is around lower six or even upper six students, right? So what I do, I check in those classes where you have those girls which satisfy this criteria. That is the criteria of being 16 to 18 and long hair, who are fair and who have brown eyes. All right. So, for example, in class A, in one class, I have, for example, 2 students who satisfy this criteria. In another class, I have 1. In another class, I get only 1. In another class. So, in each of these classes where I can find a student satisfying these criteria that I'm looking for. So let's say, for example, I have a total of 7 or 8. Let's take a total of 8 students who really satisfy the criteria I'm looking for. So I'll say that this is my representative, this is representative of my target population, right? That is, my target population is young people from age to 16, etc. So this is known as the representative. That is, these students, they are representative of the whole of the sample population that I'm taking. Now, what is generalization? To generalize means when findings of research on a sample can be said to apply to a larger population, right? Now, when you do a research, we take a small amount, we take a small sample. Now, when we do research, we are going to see whether this small sample is applicable to a larger population, right? And this is known as generalization. Now, let's come to structured observation. It is also known as systematic observation. Method for systematically observing the behavior of individuals in terms of a schedule of categories. Techniques in which the researcher employs explicitly formulated rules for the observation and recording of behavior. It takes place in a natural setting. Structured behavior is very simple. You are going just to sit down and observe a person in his natural setting, in his or her natural setting, right? So you have observations, you are going to take notes, you can be recording, etc. So it's just structured observation. Now, the main advantage is that it allows behavior to be observed directly. That is, you have the person here in front of you. You are observing the person right here in front of you, right? Now, rules are referred to an observation schedule. It bears similarity to a structured interview schedule with closed-ended questions. Now, when we talk of structured interviews, of structured observation, you have the rules are referred to an observation schedule. It bears similarities to a structured interview schedule with closed-ended questions, right? Now, what are closed-ended questions?
Only
What do you
yes,
understand by
only
Pardon?
yes. No. In the questionnaire, the you will reply.
Yes, it's only very limited answers given, yes or no. Yes, this is closed questions. Now, as I said, also you have observation schedule and show that each participant's behavior is systematically recorded. Of course, when you do structured observation, you just can't go there and just observe in the way like this, right? You have to go according to an observation schedule, right? The similarities that you have, what you're observing from each person that you see there. So you go according to an observation schedule. Now let's come to participant observation, which is very important. Now, it is best known of method of social research. It is primarily associated with qualitative research. Normally, when you in qualitative research that we use participant observation. Now, it entails prolonged immersion of observer in social setting and seeking to observe behavior of members in that setting and to elicit meanings they attribute to their environment and behavior. Okay. So when you do participate, as you said, as it's the word itself says, the interviewer is going to be an active participant in the observation. Okay, he's going to act to observe actively, in the sense that just to elicit, to get meanings out of the behavior, to observe the behavior of people, and then to get the meanings out of the behavior of people. Now, you have two types of participant observations. You have overt and covert. Now, overt participant observation, it involves participating in the behavior of people who know they are being studied, right? Because when it is overt, which means the researcher is there in front of the person, right? And the participant, they know that the researcher is here. Now, open research, in which researchers' true identity and the purpose of their research are revealed to the participants. That is, for example, I am a researcher. I go somewhere to do, for example, to observe people. So I, first of all, what I have to introduce myself as a researcher, right? You have to declare your identity. You have the purpose of the research, why you are here, why you are doing a purpose, the research on what. All this information should be revealed to the participants prior to the observation. Now, he joins the group openly and conducts research with the permission and cooperation of the group under study. Now, for you to be able to do whatever research that you have, especially on participant observation, you need to get the informed consent of the person. That is, you need to get the consent, the approval of the person, that, okay, the person is agreeable to participate in the research, in the observation that is going on. That you can be having people who are not agreeable to participate, and then it's just you can't just force the person to do so, right? Now, anywhere that you go, before you go to do observation, whatever type of, you need to get the permission of the authorities of the group, the authorities, or the place where you are going, the managers or the officer in charge. You need to get the prior approval before joining, before setting to go there for observation. And then afterwards, you need to have that informed consent of the people before you start the observation. That is very important. Now, let's come to the strength of overt participant observation. First of all, recording is relatively easy, and the group knows and understands the role of the researcher. Now, you have a situation where you are a participant, an overt participant observer. So you go in a place that the people, they know that you are here for a research. Okay, so recording these people's actions, etc. So it becomes very easy, because the people, they know that you are here. Secondly, researcher can ask questions, take notes, and observe behavior openly. You can even take notes, ask these people questions, take down notes, and then you can observe their behavior openly. Now, access is easily gained to all levels, because, as I said, you have asked for prior permission before setting to do that observation in a specific region or in a specific company or somewhere, right? Now, sometimes the use of a key informant may be necessary. Now, for example, you don't have people where you can sometimes you have to ask for a key informant to someone who can help you to get access, right? Otherwise you won't get access. Now there is less risk of involvement in unethical, criminal, dangerous or destructive behaviors. Now, for example, over participant observation, you are definitely not going to go for observing criminal, dangerous people or destructive behaviors that you have, people who have problems and they are quite dangerous. So you're not going to go there overtly to do, because it becomes quite difficult for you to get involved with these types of people, right? Now let's come to the limitations of the overt participant observation. First of all, refusal of permission to carry out the research. If you ask for permission and you don't get permission, of course, you can't even carry out the research. Now it requires a substantial amount of time, effort, and money to do an overt participant observation, because you have to get the approval, you have to go there, you have to it takes much time, effort, and money. Now you have the Hawthorne effect, where it changes in people's behavior that result from their knowledge of being observed, right? So very often when you go there, you say, okay, you've got the approval, you have joined a company. You go there for a participant observation, an overt participant observation. Okay. And when you ask the people the question, they are going, there is definitely, this is human nature. There is definitely a change in the person's behavior, because the person is already aware, okay, you are a researcher, you are here for a research, you are going to ask them. So these people, they have the tendency, right? They have the tendency of changing their behavior just as to suit the situation, right? And this change in behavior is known as the Hawthorne effect. Now, very often these data that you get, the replies, they are impossible to replicate. And then it is difficult for the researcher to accurately record behavior, right? Accurately recording the behavior is quite difficult. Okay. Before we move to covert, any question on overt? Yovzekut, I give you a few minutes. Just go through it again and let me know whether you have any questions before I move on. Yes, any question? Just go through the slides again on overt participant observation, the limitation, the strength, etc. What I have done just now. Just see whether you have any question, whether it is clear. If you have any question, please do so. Non?
Non.
Tout est clair là, on a tout compris. Everything is crystal clear. Pas de questions?
Non, madame.
Yes. If you don't have questions, I have a question for you. Now, when we use overt participant observation, what type of data are you going to get? Which is rich in what? Reliability or validity? Hmm?
C'est reliability, madame.
No,
Reliability.
exactly reliability, because it is still we are doing on qualitative, pas de question de reliability, but it has its dose, we are going to say, of validity, but we are going to see later that with covert, you get a bit more. It is highly valid. But here you have it, but not that much. Why is that so? Why don't we have that 100% validity in overt participant observation? Pourquoi?
Comme vous avez dit, il y a le Hawthorne
Exactly, because of the Hawthorne effect, where you have people who will not behave in their natural way. They are going to change their behavior. Now, this change of behavior, of course, this is going to have a very an effect, a direct effect on the validity of the information that you are getting. D'accord? Parce que la personne ne va pas agir dans sa façon naturelle. Of course, you're not going to get that most valid information, that most valid data from the overt participant observation. C'est toujours un peu valide, oui, mais pas complètement valide. Pas 100% validity. D'accord? Pas de questions, je vous écoute. Non? Allez, vous êtes. Pas de questions? Non? No, ma'am. Let me continue then, if you don't have any questions. So, let us come now to covert participant observation. Here, the researchers secretly or covertly joins the group so that subjects, when you talk of subject, I said it is either the participants or the, here it is interviewees or participants. Pardon. They are unaware they are being studied because the researcher has not declined his true identity. He does this secretly, right? He secretly joins the group so that the subjects are unaware they are being studied. Secondly, you have the main aim is to experience behavior in its natural setting. The researcher must balance the roles of being a researcher and a participant at the same time without revealing their true role to other members. This is quite a very difficult situation. It's not easy to handle as a researcher. So you have to manage to be a researcher as well as an observer, a participant at the same time, right? And especially we do cover participant observations with closed groups, that is, people who are not, for example, drug addicts or prostitutes, so those people, those sensitive issues, right? This is where we deal with covert participant observation. D'accord? Now let's come to the strength of covert participant observation. The only way to study people who would not normally allow themselves to be researched, for example, as I said, it is criminal or deviant groups, closed groups, etc. So these people normally they won't allow people to join and to be researched because they excuse me, because they might be criminals, drug addicts, deviant groups. Okay. Now, it avoids observer effect. Subject's behavior is largely unaffected by the researcher's presence because they don't know whether the person here is a researcher. So, you won't get that problem of observer effect. Now, it gains valuable insights into the meanings, the motivations, and relationships within the group. For example, you join covertly a group of drug addicts. Okay, you join covertly a group of drug addicts. Now, with this group of drug addicts, unfortunately, you will have to take part, to be part of all the illicit activity that they are doing, right? And you should not absolutely do anything that would arouse suspicion that you are a researcher. D'accord? Now, from this joining covertly, this is going to give you so much valid information. For example, while joining this, you can get insights into the meanings, the point of view of these drug addicts, how they see the world, their motivations, why they have become drug addicts, what has pushed them into that thing of taking being addicts, and the relationship within the group. You have joined a group, you're going to see each and every one, their relationship with each other. So it is highly valid data is obtained, right? Now let's come to the limitations of covert participant observation. Gaining access is difficult, right? Some need entry requirements. You cannot join those groups easily. You need to have some requirements that you need for you to be able to join. Now, researcher may not have access to all areas because you might be joining a group still, but you cannot move ahead in all areas, in everywhere that you want to move on. Now, researchers has to quickly learn the culture and dynamics of the group. You need to know what type of people they are, what is the type of culture that is reigning, that is going on there, right? For you to be able to really integrate yourself and to understand the dynamics of the group. Now, researchers should be able to mix the roles of participant and researcher simultaneously, right? Mixing the role of researcher and participant is definitely not an easy task, right? So it's very important for the researcher to keep that objectivity, to be objective in his research, and at the same time as a participant. Now, can go native, the researcher loses objectivity and starts seeing things subjectively. For example, you join a group, you meet a friend there while joining the group. You become friends with one of the drug addicts. Now, while talking, the person is going to explain to you why he or she has started taking drugs till he or she becomes a drug addict, right? Now, while listening to his or her story, right, then you come to realize, okay, this is how life is. See, he or she has to take drugs, maybe pour subvenir aux besoins de la famille, quelque chose, things like that, right? But this is why, while listening to that person, you very often tend to lose your objectivity and become subjective in your way of thinking. And this is very bad for a researcher to become subjective. A researcher has to remain objective all through the research process, right? Because if a researcher becomes subjective, it loses all the validity of the research. Now, then we have action research. It is an approach in which the action researcher and a client collaborate and in the diagnosis of a problem and in the development of a solution based on the diagnosis. This is action research. That is where the researcher and the client and the member of the public, if you can say, or those who are doing who are social workers, they are going to work together to diagnose the problem. Where is the problem? What is the problem? Right? And in the development of a solution based on the diagnosis, once these two people have sat down and they have find the diagnosis of the problem, now these people, they are going to sit down and find solution and develop solutions for based on the diagnosis that they have got. Now, it can involve the collection of both data, both qualitative and quantitative. When you do action research, you can use either qualitative or quantitative research, either way, just to be able to solve the problem. Now, especially common in fields such as business and management research, education, and social policy. Then you have a narrative approach, an approach to the analysis of qualitative data that emphasizes stories that people employ to account for events, right? Here you are going to use purely qualitative data, right? You are going to analyze it also. Now, it can be employed in relation to documents, existing documents, provides a potential strategy for analyzing such sources like documents. This is all narrative because it is all found in like sorts of documents to allow for analysis. Okay. This is the second part of qualitative. Any question? Je vous écoute. Any question on covert part?
Madame, vous pouvez nous donner un exemple quand vous dites que le rechercheur doit garder s'il perd son objectivité et commencer à être subjectif. Vous pouvez nous donner un exemple?
Okay, I have talked earlier on. Laissez-moi voir ça un coup. I have talked on something which is known as going native, no? We do, oopsie, give me 1 minute. Yes.
C'est dans
When we
limitation.
talk about the limitations of covert participant observation, we talk of here the person can go native. Yeah, going native, c'est-à-dire vous développez de la compassion pour la personne. D'accord? So when you do research, you should never put your feelings in that. Your personal feelings should never be in that. C'est-à-dire, vous faites votre recherche comme si vous avez mis des visières, you just look ahead what's in there in your research only. You should never try to feel compassion for, okay, you get ça, il passe pas beaucoup misère, etc. So you try to feel compassion for that person. While doing that, you're going to bias. It becomes like a sort of bias for your result, and you won't get that valid information. D'accord? This is known as going native, which is very, very important and very, very nefast also for the research. It's very bad for the research. D'accord? C'est clair?
Oui, merci.
Okay. Any other question? Now, there is one thing that I should add also. When a person doing a covert participant observation, right? He, with great difficulty, maybe he gets access to join a group, right? But however, leaving the group becomes also very, very difficult and very risky also. Just take a situation. You join a group of drug addicts, right? You have to do all the activity that they do. It is against your values that you have to do those distasteful things that they do. They take their drugs. You have to take drugs together with them. You can say, okay, you go and take your drugs, I'll take it. No, it doesn't work like that. They'll say, well, why don't you want to take drugs, right? So now you stay with these people for around, let's say, 1 month, 2 months. It's because it's quite long. Now, at some point in time, you want to move to say, okay, I'm done with that research. I want to just, but getting out of this group can be very dangerous for you, because if they have the slight whiff that you are a researcher, or they might be thinking that you are a police officer undercover, so it becomes very difficult for your life. They can just stop you, and you can getting out of the group becomes very, very difficult. So doing covert participant observation is something which should be done by professionals who know. Normally police officers, normally you see in films, but I guess in reality also it's like this, where they go undercover to pour démanteler des réseaux de drug addicts, de démanteler des réseaux de prostitution, etc. OK? Alors, les personnes, ils vont faire leur recherche, ils vont faire leur travail undercover sous la couverture. Mais comme je vous dis, c'est très, très compliqué, c'est très, très difficile de sortir du groupe, because you have been living with these people for so many days, for months maybe, and just quitting that group, it is going definitely to arouse suspicion, where they can say, okay, but definitely maybe she is a police officer, and this becomes very, very difficult then. And not only difficult, but it becomes very extremely dangerous for the researcher. Right? Des questions, je vous écoute. Now just imagine how the researcher has to maintain that objectivity, or even be very strong psychologically, because he has to lead a double role, a role of being a researcher and a role of being a participant also. So how difficult it is, and especially he does not have the facility of recording. You cannot record, of course, if you record what is happening. So you cannot record, you cannot take down notes, etc. So it becomes more and more difficult, where the researcher has to rely on his memory just to think, okay, I saw this and this and this, what they do, what I saw, what they did, etc. So you have to memorize. The researcher has to memorize lots and lots and lots of things for later on. He's going to put all these things on paper, but he has to memorize. He doesn't have the facility of, he cannot at any moment, at any cost to record, or even to take notes of whatever is happening all around him for that lapse of time that he's over there. Okay? Des questions?
Non, madame.
C'est bon, vous avez compris? Tout est clair, 100% clear? Oui? So according to you, what is the most appropriate type of observation and why? For an issue like, for example, let us take teenage pregnancy, which type of research, of research methodology would you go for on teenage pregnancy? What type of research method you are going to use to get the maximum information?
Focus group can be useful.
Yes, this you are going to get an overview of what is teenage pregnancy, but otherwise, what can you do more than this?
Approach.
Pardon?
You can use a narrative approach.
The narrative approach. While using narrative approach, how are you going to do that? Okay. People accounting for events. Do you think the person is ready to open up, to explain everything to you? Especially a teenage one? Do you think you get a person who is a teenage person? She's going to open up? to say, okay, whatever happened, etc. It's quite difficult.
Then maybe
Isn't
through
it?
observation,
Sorry?
à travers observation.
Oui, à travers observation, mais seulement, comme je vous dis, prenons l'exemple de teenage pregnancy. C'est assez difficile. Either it is by your own personal contacts that you get to know people, you have to get to know the teenagers who are pregnant, or you try to see organizations which are responsible for dealing with these teenage pregnancies, etc. So this is where you are going to get a person, for example, whom you know, a teenager going through pregnancy, right? Then while you get a teenager going through pregnancy, of course, with prior permission, you get one person in that situation, you get a few persons, you can, I mean, through an organization, right? Through an organization. Now, when you get one person, you can just, of course, if she's agreeable to answer your questions, right? You are going to ask so many questions and say, okay, what happened? Then she's going to relate to you what happened, etc. Right? Now, these types of issues, of topics, they're very close types of topics, right? Mais je ne dis pas que c'est quelque chose d'impossible pour aller faire une recherche dessus, mais ça prend du temps. Il faut avoir beaucoup de contacts, il faut bien fouiller pour avoir la personne. Maintenant, getting that person to be agreeable to us to participate in, to do a face-to-face interview, this is also another issue. Now, when you, for example, if ever you get that person, now formulating the questions that you are going to ask that person, also, this is very important. Il faut bien choisir les questions qu'on demande à la personne. Et surtout, ça doit être des questions pertinentes, but where you get the maximum information through that person. Now, while collecting all this information, you can just get an overview of about the topic. But this is a very sensitive topic. Normally, these topics, as someone said, we do it like focus groups, right? You do focus group, then you get the point of view of all these people at the same time. And then also you can get different insights at the same time. Okay? Des questions? Pas de questions? Je vous écoute. No? Go through the slides. Go through the slides, yes. Pourquoi on ne me parle pas? On envoie un petit message. Why don't you just unmute and talk to me? Any other question? Now, let me just ask you one question. If you were asked to do an overt participant observation, how would you proceed? If you were asked to do an overt participant observation, how would you proceed? Qu'est-ce que vous allez faire? What are the steps that you are going to take? Je vous écoute.
Maybe request for permission from the organizations, for the people.
Allez, okay. Disons dans une organisation, you join an organization. First of all, you tell me you are going to ask for permission, okay? And then? Avant la permission, qu'est-ce que vous devez faire? You have to get your population. You're going to do what? You're going to observe who? Who are you going to observe? So you get your population. You also get the permission. After the permission, what happens? Yes? Où est la personne qui m'a dit ça là? Please carry on, continue.
Well, we need to prepare, we need to know on which topic we want to talk or ask questions or interviews.
Oui, ça vient avant que vous alliez dans l'organisation. You need to know which topic you are going to work on, where you are going to do that observation. D'accord? Then you go for for prior approval for permission pour entrer là-bas. And then what do you do? You get the permission, what do you do?
I think there's also where we have to sign, make them sign something.
The consent of the person.
A consent form, yeah.
Yes. Then?
Make them more comfortable while asking, while interviewing the people, the groups.
Yes, definitely. Yes, good. Yes. Après? Mais il y a une chose importante que vous ne m'aviez pas dit. You get to know these people before getting the consent of the person. What should you do? You are doing an overt participant observation. You get permission from the organization. But before you get the consent of the people, of the interviewees, what should you do? Yes, Avisha.
Là, on ne doit pas se révéler aux gens d'abord, on ne doit pas se révéler nous sommes aux gens avant de leur demander, nous-mêmes nous présenter d'abord.
Exactement. You have to decline your identity. You have to say that, okay, I am a researcher. Don't forget, you're doing overt participant observation, which means you need to give your true identity, who you are here as a researcher. Then afterward, then you ask for the permission, for the consent of the targeted people that you're going to interview. Et puis après ça, then you get the interview, you get the consent of the persons. Then what do? Vous commencez à poser les questions aux gens, n'est-ce pas? And while asking the questions, what do you need? What do you need to do?
Take note or record.
Yes, you record and you take notes. Of course, definitely. It's the only way for you to get the most the valid information, right? You have to take notes. You have the facility of taking notes. You have the facility of recording. Yes, you record and you take notes, definitely. Jusqu'à vous posez des questions till you get your maximum information, whatever you need. D'accord? Any other question? No?
Madam, is there any way that we can reduce or suppress the Hawthorne effect?
Sorry? Whether you can reduce the Hawthorne effect? Not really. Not really, in the sense that the Hawthorne effect, it's there. And also the Hawthorne effect is like something which is a natural behavior that people normally they show, they exhibit. Because whoever, I think this is a normal behavior that people are going to slightly change their behavior when they know they are being observed. I guess this is something which is very common everywhere, but I don't think it is a way of completely eradicating Hawthorne effect, because you want it or not, it does come. Because definitely people are going to change slightly their behavior. Not only their behavior, they might be giving you answers just to please you, just to say, okay, I guess this type of question that she's expecting, okay, let me give her that type of question that she's expecting, right? But very often you get you need to know how to ask the questions for you to get maximum information. Le fait que vous savez que la personne va changer un peu l'attitude, va try to twist the answer that the person is going to give you, but still you as a researcher, you need to try to reformulate or to mold your questions in a way for the person. You can dig inside, you can dig deep to get the most valid information. D'accord, Monsieur Cassi, is that clear?
Yes, madam.
Good. Pas de questions? Si vous n'avez pas de questions, we'll call it a day. Yes? Okay, then we'll stop here if you don't have any questions. And I'll see you. We are going to complete, to move on the unit 3 next time. I've done unit 1, unit 2, both of them. Most probably I'll be sending you, just check on Blackboard about your assignment. I'm going to give you your assignment question, which you are going to work out. One thing which is important that I want to stress on that, because each time I get problems with students, be on time. If you can just send me your assignment before the due date, because very often when you try to send at the last minute, Blackboard doesn't take it, and then we get big issues. So try to manage your time. I know you have at least five modules to do. So manage your time, and then try to submit before the due date, 1 or 2 days before the due date, for it to be on the safe side too. And don't forget, there is also the safe assign, where it is mentioned about the similarity, how much you have copied, etc. So be very careful with that. All right. I'll send you the notes, the question by as soon as possible, early as possible. All right. So I'll meet you. We have class on the 16th of September, isn't it? Yes, we have class on the 16th of September at 10:30. It will be in the morning. Yeah, at 10:30. It's only this one. Right? Okay. Any question before we leave? No?
Juste une petite question. Je compose l'examen de novembre parce que j'ai raté l'ancien examen et j'ai eu un SI. Est-ce que par rapport au assignment, je vous renvoie l'assignment précédent?
Non, vous devez refaire because it will be a different one.
Ils m'ont dit que le assignment, les marks pour le assignment seront carried forward.
Ah, okay. In that sense, okay. If the university has told you, okay.
D'accord.
This is a receipt for this paper, isn't it?
Oui, j'ai eu un special circumstances, oui.
Ok, c'est bon. Ben, si c'est comme ça, ok, c'est bon. Ça va, il n'y a pas de souci.
D'accord, merci.
D'accord. Okay, then we meet on the 16th of September at 10:30. All right? Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.